BNP and Army League already there. What do you think the minorities of Bangladesh, are their lives going to get better, worse, or same with new political pairs? How they will negotiate with with these forces now?
So I think the crisis in Bangladesh has gone beyond what is going to happen to minorities. Interestingly, even Jamaat has been saying very pro-minority stuff recently. You know, there's a new face of Jamaat, which is Jamaat is saying that there should be tolerance towards all religions. BNP has been saying that minorities should be protected. In fact, the new students party that has come up, they have also spoken about people of all faiths, finding equal treatment in Bangladesh. So on the face of it, everybody is speaking up for the minority population in Bangladesh. Having said that, I think the book came out not after August 5th last year. My book being in Bangladesh, whose Bengali edition you have up on screen, that came out, in fact, almost 5-6 months before Hasina's fall. So I would argue that minorities in Bangladesh were never, nobody really cared for the minorities in Bangladesh. There were regular attacks on minorities even during Hasina's time, but at least on the face of it, she and her government put up a secular face. They took action when there were concerted attacks on minorities, which we saw were completely gone once she went out of power. But right now, there are, of course, sporadic incidents that are happening across Bangladesh, and you see some of those on Twitter. But if you since I've been looking at Bangladesh for a while now, I know that even while Hasina was there, some of these attacks took place. What happened immediately after Hasina's fall, in 3-4-5 months after Hasina's fall, was horrific in terms of the number of attacks, the regularity of attacks, But now it's tapered off. Now the attacks that are happening, those kind of attacks had happened even when she was there, very much there. But your question, what will happen to them? I think the answer to that is we have to first figure out what's going to happen to Bangladesh. Firstly, when will the next elections be held?
Yeah.
Because I think Professor Muhammad Yunus is in no hurry to immediately call elections. He has said that end of this year or early next year, but he has also stressed on reforms. He did something very smart. He recently had a press conference where he said, whatever you are demanding, please tell us what kind of reforms you want to see. So we will put your demands on a website. Okay. So once you do that, all political parties, they'll be in a sense exposed that what is it you want as a reform. So he said we'll have a website and we will put up all your demands on a website for the public to see that this political party wants this kind of reform in the country. So now, if you say I want constitutional reforms, I want judicial reforms, I want electoral reforms, the process can go on forever. BNP, the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, which I feel, and there are many who feel so, they have a very good chance of perhaps coming to power, if elections are held soon, because Army League, they're disorganized. Most of their leaders and workers are in exile. So perhaps BNP would have done very well electorally if elections were held recently. They are getting very worried because as time passes by, they don't know what the political situation is going to be. Now, there is this new students party who are also saying all kinds of things. They're saying that it's equality for every citizen. They have also said that they will put an end to dynasty rule. I think they meant both Army League and the BNP. They said that, India, we can have good relations with India, but only based on equality. You have to look India in the eye and sit on the negotiating table. So Jamaat is looking at a makeover. They're saying very politically correct things. So it's a hodgepodge. You don't know what's going to happen to Bangladesh. What is the political future of Bangladesh? When will elections be held? Which party will come to power if elections are held? Well, Army League will be allowed to contest in those elections. So minorities in Bangladesh, I think the common citizen of Bangladesh today needs to worry what is the future of her country today. The minority in Bangladesh, I think hopefully the kind of attacks that were reported across media, uh, outside Bangladesh, inside Bangladesh as well. I think I hope that those kinds of attacks are not happening anymore. But there are sporadic attacks, as you know, you see them on the news, but they happened before also.
Yeah.
The
So I'll go to
first
the next question.
have
Yeah,
a
yeah. Please
stable
go ahead.
Bangladesh, an elected government. I think that's what any Bangladesh watcher would tell you. What Rami was also saying, that India perhaps, and she would know this more better than me, that perhaps Delhi would not want to engage with an unelected government. Delhi would want to engage with an elected government, whoever that elected government is. So till such time elections are held in Bangladesh and an elected government comes to power, because this is an unelected government. It was a stopgap arrangement, right? So only when elections are held can Delhi negotiate.
Correct.
Yeah, so I'll ask the last question to Deepda and then to Rami ma'am. So Deepda, you in your book that you have written, this English version and the Bengali version is there. So there is a
Yeah,
chapter called "The DNA of Hate."
yeah,
Yeah. So I would request everybody who wants to understand what's happening in Bangladesh today, go and buy the book, Being Hindu in Bangladesh. If you do a Google search, you will get it. It's from HarperCollins. So I have one quote which I would like you and also Rami ma'am to actually give a comment. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman had famously said, "This country does not belong to Hindus. This country does not belong to Muslims. Whoever thinks this country is theirs, this country will be theirs. Whoever will feel happiness seeing this country prosper, this country will be theirs. Whoever will cry seeing this country sad, this country will be theirs. This country will also belong to those who have given away everything for this country's freedom and would do so in future." So, as you mentioned, correct, the secular character of Bangladesh and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman gave this statement when he was fighting. So, what do you think is was Bangladesh ever a secular state in nature, in terms of its society, and also your in chapter you have written about the DNA of hate?
what do you want me to say? You want me to say something politically correct, or you want me to say the truth?
The
In
truth.
between,
I
in
think
between.
Bangladesh. I think secularism is an experiment that Bangladesh took up since its birth, but it's not something it got comfortable with ever. Okay, I mean, there was we of course had 15 straight glorious years of Sheikh Hasina's rule, and I say glorious because the strategic partnership with India was, you couldn't have asked for anything better. She had a great personal camaraderie with Prime Minister Modi. Dhaka and Delhi were in regular talks. But on the ground, if you had traveled in Bangladesh, the DNA of hate was very much visible. Okay, so this is not an experiment that Bangladesh conducted well. The experiment of secularism. There, of course, have been times in history when things were relatively better than other times, but I think it is a predominantly Islamic country, and it conducted this fantastic experiment of having a common language and culture, putting that above religiosity. But you know you can see what's happening today on the ground. But if there is the other, it's the Hindu, right? I mean, of course, you see that they have tried, they keep trying from time to time. For instance, Saraswati, it's not just Durga Puja, even Saraswati Puja is held, it was held even this year inside Dhaka University with much pomp and grandeur. There is literature, common literature, great poetry, but you know I don't think it's an experiment that was ever the that ever reached